There is a lot wrong with the Bears right now. There are a lot of problems with this team. And you have to ask yourself this question. I mean, is Matt Eberflus the guy to fix it? The Bears dropped another game, 2 in a row now, at the hands of the Arizona Cardinals. 29-9 was the final out in the desert in Arizona yesterday. That was a bad loss. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. What's really eating me inside right now, Jack, and I don't know about you, they should be a lot farther along than where they are right now. This should be a team that's in contention, that's competing. And it's not like they just lost. I mean, they got embarrassed by, in my opinion, a middle-of-the-pack, mediocre Arizona Cardinals team. They lost by 3 touchdowns. Just unacceptable. I'm not really sure where to go from this point. And I know the Bears get a golden gift when they play the Patriots on Sunday, the last winnable game for the foreseeable future. I'm at a loss of where this team goes from here. I really am. This is the Bare Necessities Podcast. I'm John Prysnowski, joined as always by my companion, my compadre, my podcast co-host, Jack Lomax, as we recap another really shit effort from the Bears. And at one point a couple weeks ago, we were just singing the praise of how cool this offense looks, and like, this is the Bears that we thought we would get, and now it's all too familiar, this feeling. We're back to, middle of the season, Bears talk, Bears feel, sadness, frustration, disappointment, all the negative adjectives you can throw out there of how you feel about your favorite football team. We are feeling it with you today, this morning. Talk to me, man. Like, make sure I don't jump off a bridge. I mean, this team is not good for my mental health. I don't know about you.
I'll be holding your hand while you jump, because you know me. We can look back on these podcasts and you can look at the receipts. I have been an optimist. I think that's fair to say. I've always been
very optimistic,
glass half full all the time. Yeah. I have been a Flus supporter throughout this entire time. Whenever you said it, I've been like, I'm still on the Flus the bandwagon. I'm off. I've not just jumped off. I've kamikazed off that fucking bandwagon. I'm off. And do you know what? I've jumped so far. I managed to grab a hold of Ryan Poles on the way out, and now I'm kind of frustrated with him as a GM. And that's taken. I know that's a huge 180 from where I was like a few weeks ago, but here we are. Like, this is Chicago Bears. It is I can't think of another team that can hurt as much. You can't say the Jets, because the Jets are always shit. You can't say the Giants. They've already experienced Super Bowl dynasty in a sense. Patriots. We are the Chicago Bears, and we are just in this crap cycle year after year, and it is boring.
Before we jumped on the show here, we briefly spoke about how this is the first true moment where we're feeling some type of resentment, some type of bitterness towards Ryan Poles, and how we find ourselves in the situation that we're in. And it's, I wouldn't say the sky is falling, but it's pretty damn close, just knowing that, after week 10 against the Patriots, I mean, you could pretty much mail in this. You could pretty much mail in the season, because I don't know about you guys. There's no way we're going to win any of our division games the way that this team is currently structured, the way that this team is currently coached, and the way that the team is currently playing. Mm-hmm. There is no world that the Bears will compete with anybody in the NFC North right now, based on the showing yesterday.
And do you know what's worse, John? What's worse is the news that came out last week, and I don't know if it's hearsay. We take everything with a pinch of salt. That Ben Johnson, correct?
Ben Johnson
came out and said that the Chicago Bears was the team that he wanted to join last year. That it was that team. I don't know, pinch of salt, but did you hear about that?
I mean, of course I heard about it. Of course I heard about it. I live on Twitter 24/7, so I definitely saw that, and it was just so interesting that little news blurb happened to pop up right after a Bears loss. Like how that just came to be. Very interesting. And that was from the words of Albert Breer from the Monday Morning Quarterback. He spoke on one of the local Chicago stations here, and that just kind of went wild once that happened.
That falls
yeah. And before we get into the game, I just really want to comment really quick on just how being a Bears fan, and I'm curious what you guys think too. I know Jack feels the same way. Like, rooting for this team legit affects my mental health. I joke with a good friend of the show, Brandon Schroff, all the time. Like rooting for this team drains years off my life. I mean, they are a soul sucking team. They literally drain the energy from my body to the point where I have no desire to watch Sunday Night Football or some of the afternoon games. Like, I don't want anything to do with football the rest of the day because they ruin that experience for me. I can get so tunnel visioned, so numb to the point where, like, I don't want to speak to anybody. It's so bad, Jax. I stress eat. I eat my feelings through food, like bad, like binge eat to the point where, like, I'm just bored eating, just to take my mind off of how miserable my favorite football team makes me feel. Like literally, am I crazy?
What?
Like, do you feel any of the same things that I feel over here?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Right now, on my table right now are my kids' candy bags from Halloween, and I've been absolutely demolishing these over the last few days. And what's even worse is, I think that what's worse for us is again, I'm going to use that word, optimism. How optimistic we were at the beginning of the season. Seeing that 2024 preseason Chicago Bears, I keep bringing up them bad boys. We look so good. Top to bottom roster looks so good.
Preseason.
No holes. Even the offensive line was phenomenal. And we sit here and think, you know what? Yeah, let's dare to dream that this team is it. And I've put myself out there. In fantasy football, I drafted Chicago Bears players. And everyone's like, yeah, you're leading with your heart, not your head. Yeah, I fucking am, because I'm super excited about the Chicago Bears team. And look where we are. I put it every week. Bears money line. We do the parlay. And what do we say, John? Bears are going to upset us. I don't give a shit. We are optimistic because we are the Chicago Bears. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not excited for next week. I'm not excited for the Patriots game because I've got a feeling we're going to get two quarterbacks that were taken after us, beating us, and everyone's going to be going, is Caleb the problem? No, he's not the fucking problem. It's this team. It's just how badly this team is run, top to bottom.
It's hard to evaluate Caleb this week, and obviously it wasn't a good game by any means. 22 for 41, 217 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. He was sacked 6 times. The first 2 drives, the Bears were moving the ball, and then the drive stalls, and they can't do anything with it. I mean, typical Bears. Again, the team scores 0 points in the first quarter. Just unacceptable. But I mean, Caleb has constant pressure on almost every play. The guy has to scramble out of the pocket to make something happen. The deep ball accuracy is starting to concern me a little bit, and I understand that, 13, Mr. Keenan Allen out there didn't do Caleb any favors yesterday. Had a couple drop balls. Guy is slow out there running his routes, but I want to tell people that, why is Keenan running those routes? 15 should be running those routes. The one good thing that I was able to take from yesterday's game was Rome Odunze had a game. I mean, 5 catches, 104 yards.
Yep.
He had that really nice long ball in the first half there from Caleb. But it's hard to evaluate 18 when he's having constant pressure almost every play. Mm-hmm. And this is going back to Ryan Poles. I don't understand how you finally get the quarterback. You're a franchise quarterback, and I know Caleb hasn't been playing well these last couple weeks, but I feel it in my heart, and I know you do. He is the best quarterback that this franchise has ever had. Like, I truly, truly believe it. The talent, the skill, it's there. You have to give the kid a chance. You have to give the kid a shot. And we haven't been able to do that.
Right.
We're not always going to be able to play the Panthers and the Titans and the Patriots. I wouldn't even say the Titans because the Titans gave him fits. We're going to have to play teams that are on our level or above our level. And I really thought Arizona was below us. Roster-wise, talent-wise.
No, they're
and they're right now, I believe they're first in the NFC West because we gave them that game.
Are they the real deal? No,
we didn't show up in Glendale. We didn't show up at all. It's just it's frustrating. It's maddening right now what is happening from the London game into the bye week, and this is where we find ourselves. Like, what the hell happened? Literally, what has happened these last couple of weeks? It's a different football team. I don't understand.
It's got to fall on the offensive line. I mean, I think this is the only. This is my thinking on this. I'm trying to be logical on this. The only reason I think that Flus is even holding on to his job is because of the injuries that have plagued the Chicago Bears this year. I mean, you look at that defense. How we didn't have Montez Sweat. We haven't had Brisker for 3 weeks now, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We haven't had Kyler Gordon, and Kyler Gordon was having a phenomenal season running into this, and then he's obviously been out for so many times. Tyreek Stevenson having to sit out. We could talk about him for as much as we want, but realistically on that defense, we're missing key players. That still is not acceptable. It's the next man up. The next people up are doing fine. And on the offense, that offensive line, Darnell Wright left for the second half. We haven't really been able to keep a healthy line in general. We didn't have our left tackle in play. We had to put Borum in there. I just don't think there is enough consistency in our starting 11 on both sides of the game to actually get consistent play. Mm-hmm. That being said, it can't be an excuse. Your injuries happen all the time in the league, and it is a next man up mentality. If you can't do that, that does fall on your coach to say, well, why are the next man up not able to perform?
Coaching matters. Mm-hmm. I've been saying it all year. Coaching matters in this league. The last time your Bears head coach won a road game on a Sunday afternoon, you have to go all the way back to December 26, 2021, when Nick Foles threw to Demare Byrd to win the game in Seattle against the Seahawks. I don't even think Eberflus was here. I still think that was under Nagy, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Like that's the last time just the Bears in general won a road game on a Sunday.
It's bad.
Matt Eberflus is 0-18 coaching the Bears on Sundays.
That's not okay.
You're right. That is not okay. That is not normal.
If you had that
in what fucking world is that normal? In what world is that acceptable? It is. It's insane. It's insane coming out of my mouth.
And he's still got a job. If you're bad at it, it's because and I hate to say it's because he's a likable guy. That is the only reason. But at the end of the day, you can be the nicest guy on the planet. You can be the nicest guy on the planet. But if you can't win and you can't get us into the playoffs in a results-driven business, you've got to go. I have always liked Flus. I have been a big Flus fan. I see the light. I would happily get rid of him. I would happily get rid of Shane Waldron. Let's call the Shane Waldron experience and experiment a loss, and let's pull up our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator.
The makeover is fading. Like the beard, the slick back hair. You can look the part, but if you're not delivering the results, you can look as cool as you want, but it does not matter. It does not matter. Riddle me this. The Bears won time of possession yesterday over Arizona. They won the turnover battle. Kyler Murray threw for 154 yards, no touchdowns. The Bears still lost 29-9. Make it make sense.
Run defense. Our run defense.
If I'm Gerard Mayo and the Patriots, I'm watching the film from yesterday, and I'm going up to Ramondre Stevenson this week and say, "Young man, like be ready to carry the ball like 30 times. Like you're getting the rock because the Bears defense can't stop the run. Passing defense were great, Like Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride, like really they didn't do much against us yesterday, but they didn't have to because James Conner and DeMarcado and whoever else Arizona's running back committee is, they just ran all over us.
And many missed tackles.
Yeah.
So many missed tackles.
It's weird because I don't want to say the Hail Mary play in Washington directly impacted this game and like the Bears had a hangover from that game. But, all week leading up into yesterday, we heard how, that play is going to bring us together. The locker room's tighter than it's ever been and we're going to rebound. And it's like none of that happened.
No.
None of that happened.
I had expectations coming into this game. I expected a statement win. I expect the Chicago Bears needed to be the most focused fucking team in the NFL yesterday, and they weren't. They were all heads down. That was a deflated team, and that was embarrassing. You needed a statement win, and you missed the mark.
I think after that weird Gervon Dexter, penalty on the field goal attempt, like the life got sucked out of the sideline and we could just not get it back. Also coming out of halftime when Evan Washburn, the CBS reporter, is interviewing Eberflus and whatever Eberflus said, something about like the score is what it is. And it's as soon as I heard that, I'm like, we're going to lose. I mean, you just knew it. As soon as he opened his mouth and said the dumbest remark that he could, you just knew we were going to lose.
So neutral. He's so neutral in everything. He doesn't want to throw himself under the bus. He doesn't want to throw anyone else under the buses. We're just gonna see what we can see, right? We're just gonna look at the tape. We'll look at the tape. Fuck the tape. Go into that locker room and scream at your fucking players and say, "Where are you? Show up." Let's go back to that penalty call. By the way, those referees, and I texted you this during the game. I couldn't get a feel for those referees at all. They would let the most physical players go, and then they'd come back and call the ticky-tacky bullshit. That leverage play, I wouldn't even say he was jumping. I think he put his hand up in the air, and he had his hand on that player's back, and that player rose up, and so did he. He's not going to just be like, I'm going to stay on the ground.
And not to mention the call on DeAndre Swift in the end zone to give Arizona a safety.
Bullshit.
Where he was engaged. Like come on. Like Swift is making a play. You can't call that there. You can't call that play. It wasn't indicative of the final score. Clearly Arizona outplayed the Bears. They wanted that game more. They deserved that win. It's not like we deserved it's not like we deserved anything because we didn't. But it just goes back.
One did change the game.
Yeah, it just goes back to that consistency piece that we talk about a lot. Like, where's the consistency in some of these calls?
Correct.
Another tweet that blew my mind from yesterday. Caleb Williams right now is on pace to be sacked 62 times this season. That'd be tied for sixth most in NFL history.
And yet we are still sat here trying to figure out when Ryan Pauls is going to pull the trigger on an offensive line. Make it make sense. Hey, you're going to have a historic sack record.
I feel like you're right. You referenced it last week, or it might have been 2 shows ago that we did, where Ryan Poles was a mediocre offensive lineman who couldn't make it, and maybe he's trying to give all these guys their shot at making it. At all these mediocre guys, your Coleman Sheltons, your Matt Pryors of the world. Well, the unfortunate thing, too, is, it's not like there's amazing offensive linemen out on the street right now. Like, the Bears had a window this offseason to get a legit NFL center, to get a legit right guard in case Nate Davis didn't work out, which really fizzled out faster than we all expected. And this is what we're dealing with. And you have to protect your most crucial asset, your quarterback. Your rookie quarterback that you're trying to develop and trying to, establish good habits, good rhythm, and we're unable to do that. This kid's going to get killed. It's the same thing that we dealt with the last guy that we had here. Like last week losing to Washington was a heartbreaker. It was gut-wrenching. It was sad. This morning, I'm feeling just disappointed because this team should be farther along than where we're at right now. And after this upcoming Sunday against New England, Green Bay comes to town, Detroit comes to town, and then I believe we go on the road to face, we have 3 straight home games. New England, Green Bay, and then Minnesota. And then you go on the road to play Detroit. Like, it just doesn't get easier. And we're playing like this now. Like, man, we're
not going to make a headshot.
We're going to get embarrassed. And
just knowing that.
Yeah.
Knowing that schedule, we're not making a change. Let's be real. Would you? It would be bad on Ryan Pauls. And let's think about that. Ryan Pauls is looking out for his job now. Realistically, he has to be. You do not make that change to your head coaching position, knowing that after the Patriots, you go Green Bay. You have Detroit. you can't put someone else under that. That falls on you.
If the Bears were to fire Eberflus middle of the season, okay, his whole coaching staff is still dog shit. Like whatever interim head coach would slide on in there, like they're just as bad. It was the most Bears evening last night when we got the breaking news that the Raiders fired Luke Getsy, their offensive coordinator, former offensive coordinator here for the Bears, who, by the way, was a Matt Eberflus guy, was a Ryan Poles hire, and he couldn't even last 9 weeks with the Raiders. Like, that is the most. It was like such typical Bears news that had nothing to do with the Bears really, but it still hit us right in the feels of like, wow, like Vegas is making a move. Vegas is seeing that he's a dog shit coach that we all thought he was when he was here. Like, why can't we establish some type of accountability? This organization has been run by nice guys like George McCaskey, who is a nice guy but has no idea what the hell he's doing running a football operation. We finally have a general manager who has brought in very good talent to this roster, who I think got the right quarterback. I really do. But he hitched his wagon to the wrong guy. And I don't know how anybody can defend Ryan Poles sticking with Eberflus when you could have gotten Harbaugh this offseason. You could have gotten your Ben Johnson. You could have given Mike Vrabel an interview. Look what he did in Tennessee with, in my opinion, not the best roster over the years. And that guy is a proven winner. That guy knows how to lead a group of men. Yes, he has a defensive background, but he can lead a group of men.
Let me ask you this.
Is this roster buying into the process? Is this roster okay with Eberflus leading this group of men?
Not anymore.
Yeah. Is the locker room lost? I'm seeing body language, the body language from some of the guys yesterday on the sideline. It's lost. I feel like it's been lost since last week, man.
It's in game one. I mean, DJ Moore, like, the fact that he had to have a second interview and be like, we can't talk about the things. I've said what I've said, and I still believe in what I said, but we got to keep it in-house. When you've got your coach saying, keep it in-house, that's me saying there is something in-house where players are saying, we are not on board with what's going on right now. If he's having to say, let's keep our grievances in-house, there are grievances. And there are multiple grievances. And this is probably not the first conversation that he's had with a player, and it won't be the last. And until... even Caleb's body language. Caleb's always looks optimistic. He still feels like he goes out there and puts in 100%, and he'll always do that. But even, like, just that little play when he'd run out and he jumped onto the side and he sat on the side and he's like...
He's exhausted. He's like, exhausted.
What the fuck are we doing?
He is exhausted. He is so tired of constant pressure in his face, having to play hero ball, which is what he did in college, but you can't play hero ball in the NFL every possession. Like, you just can't.
Now, two things. Right, my first, I've got a thought process, and I want your hypotheticals here. Would you think it would be detrimental to the team to fire Flus now, knowing that what the coaching staff looks like behind him? We don't have someone to put an interim on staff. What about someone like Mike Vrabel coming in mid-season? I mean, realistically, hear me out. what's the worst that could happen? We continue losing. All right, we were losing anyway.
You know damn well as much as I know that they will never do that. That he's not
won't.
going anywhere until January 7th, January 8th, Black Monday. Like Eberflus isn't going anywhere. And they're not going to bring some guy off the street to. They're not going to give us the Jeff Saturday thing like that. That's not.
Yeah,
what
that's
the
what
Bears,
I was thinking of.
That's
Jeff
not
Saturday,
what the Bears are going to do. Like they don't do that, man.
All right.
They've never fired a coach middle of the season. They're not going to do it now.
So here's the second thing. This is the second part to this. You have to control what you can control, right? So you can't change the coach. We kind of get the idea that would go against historical Bears, moves. What can you control? You can control the roster. So if you're Ryan Poles, you have to sit in the office and say, right, I'm not firing my coach. What players can I trade for that are going to immediately turn this team around? Montez Sweat turned that defense around. He was okay, but he elevated it. That was a phenomenal move. Ryan Poles has had some fucking misses. He has had some hard swinging misses.
And he's owned those misses. And he has owned those misses, but he needs to own that he colossally failed this team with his head coach.
But who's there? So what realistically, if we look at this team right now and say, what can we do? And we know adding players could elevate the team. I'm on the phone to all other 31 teams and I'm saying, what offensive linemen do you have available? I keep seeing Brandon Scherf. Is it Scherf? Is that his name?
Brandon Scherf.
Jacksonville. From Jacksonville. That he is being floating out as we were willing to trade him. He's on like a final year. He's 32. He's still phenomenal talent. If you look at him and say, having him on our team for the rest of the season will protect our QB1, you give out the fourth pick, fifth pick. It can't be that much. He's getting on. A fifth round pick for him. Or a fourth round pick for him, and you get him on your team, and you get him protecting QB1. Our defensive end, Montez Sweat left the game, and our pass rush disappeared. You need another pass rusher. Chase Young, for all his flaws, I know he's dipped since his first couple of years, is still a pass rusher that is better than what we have opposite Montez Sweat right now. For me, a fifth rounder, and his value right now is a fifth rounder. That is two players right now that I think could immediately elevate the Chicago Bears and cost pennies on the dollar.
I don't disagree with you, and the NFL trade deadline is tomorrow, Tuesday afternoon at, I believe, 4 or 5 o'clock, something like that, Eastern time. Definitely think Poles should be on the phone if he's not already for some offensive line help. Matt Pryor is not your answer at right guard. I think center is clearly an issue. It's concerning, and I've brought this up before, that Darnell Wright, your first-round pick from last year, your right tackle, he is very up and down. I've seen him play really well in pass sets, and I've seen him get beat like bad. I'm not sure if that's on him, if that's on Eberflus's boy, the offensive line coach, Chris Morgan, who should be working at Arby's drive-thru tomorrow. I'm not really sure what he provides. I don't know what he really provides this football team, because your first-round stud tackle that you drafted last year should be performing better, but he's regressing, and it goes back to coaching. And he should be working the Arby's drive-thru, handing out extra large curly fries and Jamocha shakes.
It's not normal. It isn't normal. Somebody has to be accountable. If you're gonna make someone accountable, let's start with the worst position in the game. It's our offensive lineman. Our offensive lineman coach needs shit cannon.
Well, and again, Luke Getsy was a hire from Eberflus and Poles. He gets fired. He gets let go. And a lot of the offensive staff last year got let go.
Yeah.
But why keep Chris Morgan when our offensive... Here's what I will say. We were at least able to run the ball last year. We were a top 5 rushing team in the league. What happened? What has gone wrong? The moves that have been made to address the offensive line have taken a giant step back in production, in my opinion. Like, we've gotten worse. We've regressed all these moves. It's bizarre.
When we had a healthy offensive line, DeAndre Swift was putting up Pro Bowl numbers. He really was. This is the way I'm trying to logically think about this. Is we didn't have our full five, our starting lineup, and because we don't have that consistency at offensive line, DeAndre Swift has his lanes that he likes to run behind. Like, he knows that if this player moves, if this player's on the field, I know he is going to be able to create that route for me. And if that player is not on the field, he no longer has that route, but he still has to run that route. So there's less confidence, and that's kind of my takeaway from that is, it's just the wrong players are on the field at the wrong time because of injury, and because of that, the timing's off for everyone. And then you've got, like you said, 18 throwing deep balls that are inconsistent. You've got your running back that doesn't have the lanes that he wants to run, and then that knocks off the timing for all your wide receivers. It's just, it is. But at the end of the day, if you've got offensive linemen that are top notch, you don't have to worry about those. You don't have to worry about those kind of nuances. Look at Jalen Hurts. Is Jalen Hurts the best quarterback in the league? No. But when he's got 7 seconds in the pocket because his offensive linemen year after year are absolute studs, he can throw that deep ball to Devontae Smith, and he can throw that deep ball to A.J. Brown. What do we have? We have 2 seconds in the pocket, and then Caleb Williams is scrambling around like Justin Fields, and then suddenly we're looking at Justin Fields going, well, it wasn't Justin Fields' fault. No fucking shit, it wasn't Justin Fields' fault. Now, granted, Caleb Williams is way better than Justin Fields. That being said, apologies to Justin Fields. We dealt you a shit hand. We should have read the signs, and now we're stuck with Eberflus.
It's trying to find the right word to describe this offseason when we kept pounding the table. This is the best situation for a number 1 overall pick to come into. Is it? Has it been? Really? I'm just tired of the national media laughing at us, at other fan bases, just saying like, "Oh, you guys are still the Bears." Like, I just want this cycle of misery to end. Like, pick a lane. Pick a lane. I hate this false hope, this optimism of like, this is the year we're going to get it right. Like, we do have the right people here, and it's like, we're doing this shit all over again, and we're going to fire the head coach, and then we're going to bring in a whole new coaching staff for your second-year quarterback to learn a whole new system when we could have avoided this all had we just given the thought to go a different route this offseason. And Ryan Poles stuck with his boy, and that I cannot forgive. That should not be forgiven by any of us. No matter how big of a Ryan Poles fan any of you guys are out there, he cannot be forgiven for this. We are failing this kid. If I'm Caleb Williams' dad and his mom, I don't know how I'd be feeling, because I feel like this is exactly what the Colin Cowherds of the world were talking leading up to the draft of, like, why would Caleb Williams want to go there? Because of what we're seeing right now, because of what the Bears do year in and year out. They fail their players. They fail the scheme. They fail the fan base. It's a tale as old as time. It's the same tale that we've lived our whole lives rooting for this team. Where was Jack? Sorry, really quick. Also, we've gone a half hour without talking. Where the hell was Cole Kmet yesterday? The guy just disappeared. Cole Kmet should be on the milk
2 games
carton.
in a row.
Missing.
2 games in a row. Yep.
Missing. Where is 85? I don't understand. And really quick,
how did we go into the bye week? And Cole Kmet was fantasy god.
We went into the bye week and and we're a worse team. Like, we have we're
the only team that does that.
We've like lowered the volume down a notch a little bit, since not just a little bit. I mean,
a lot.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet was really 0 points. 0 points.
Really quick before we cap off the show here, did you have a problem with Caleb Williams being out there for the final couple drives of the game? And it looks like it seems like he's okay, but I mean, you even heard Charles Davis on the broadcast say, like, what do the Bears have to prove right now with him being out there? Like, that's your cornerstone of your franchise, and he could have been hurt, severely hurt.
That's Eberflus' saving face, and I hated his reasoning. Oh, we're working on the 2-minute drills. I don't give a shit. I don't. That's for practice. You work on that in practice. This is not real game scenario. They've not even got their starters on the field right now. Bench your starter. Put Bajent in. I didn't like it. I get the reasoning. Save face. We play to the whistle. We play to the end. Caleb Williams, his interview after kind of gave us that. He said, that wasn't my decision. I'll play what my coaches tell me to do, but that wasn't my decision. That wasn't I supported that decision. That was really fucking stupid of me being out there. I disagreed with it.
Again, looking ahead to Sunday, the Bears get, in my opinion, a golden gift of a game. And the way the team's playing, I said it last week, I'll say it this week. It's not like it's going to be a cakewalk. I do think the Patriots play pretty sound defensive ball.
Yeah, they do.
But this will be the first home game for the Bears in pretty much almost a month here. They haven't played a home game in several weeks now, so they're at home against a team that does football worse than themselves. Like, the Patriots are one of the few teams offensively, statistically, that are worse than the Bears. Like, they're dead last in passing. They're almost dead last in rushing per game. Drake May has shown flashes here and there. They just don't have the roster. They don't have the bodies. It's clearly a team in development, in rebuild mode. They know who they are, at least. Like, the Patriots know who they are. They took the Titans to overtime yesterday, I believe. I mean, that was a pretty thrilling game in Tennessee, and obviously the Titans won that game. But if I'm the Bears, I'm going to enjoy this week. I'm not going to take anything for granted. I'm not going to take it off. But realistically, this is going to be, knock on wood here, like the last W for quite some time, because after this, I can't realistically see when our next win is going to be. After this week, it's Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, San Francisco. Good luck. And this is what's so frustrating, is we knew this was going to happen, and we find ourselves a 500 football team heading into this point of the schedule.
The hardest part of the schedule.
The hardest part of the schedule, and the Bears have the hardest remaining schedule of any team in the league. And we knew this was going to come, and we find ourselves at a crossroads of, okay, after this New England game, where do they go from here? It's just frustrating, and it's really unfortunate, because I think all of us truly thought that this team would be farther along than where they are now. And it's just disappointing to see typical same old Bears dysfunction of searching for answers. I'm getting updates as we speak of Matt Eberflus speaking with the media this morning. And
I was doing the same. Yeah.
Just the same old bullshit of we gotta search for answers. We're gonna look at the tape. We're gonna have a good week of practice, and like, I'm not really sure what he's supposed to say, but it's clearly evident that this is not the leader of men that this franchise needs. And you can be a good defensive play caller. You can have this incredible makeover that, makes you look super cool and whatnot. The guy hasn't won a road game, Jack. The guy is 0-18 playing Sunday games on the road. Last time I checked, the majority of football games are played on Sunday afternoons. We deserve better. I expect better. And the fact that we haven't gotten better and we're still doing this shit year in, year out, I'm getting tired, man. I'm getting tired of it. And I'd like to think at one point in our lives we won't have to deal with this bullshit anymore.
One day we'll have a positive podcast. Like, look
One
at
day,
look at our Chicago Bears. We're so good. This is so exciting.
Yeah.
We love our dynasty team.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So he's Jack Lomax. I'm John Presnowski. This has been the Bare Necessities Podcast. Please check us out on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you guys get your podcasts. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Bare Necessities Podcast. Comment, engage. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are with this team. Let us know where you guys are at, because we're absolutely disgusted with the product on the field right now. And after this week, again, it does not get any easier. So, searching for answers, searching for wins, maybe searching for a new head coach soon. Your Chicago Bears 2024. This is where we're at. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Be good, be well, and don't forget to bear down.